Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Press Any Button. I'm Nicky.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Doug.
Woo! As you can tell, we have a special guest today, and we're going to be talking all about Mortal Kombat.
Woo!
1.
The original.
But do you have to call it Mortal Kombat 1? I feel like people might not know which one you're talking about if you just say Mortal Kombat, you know?
That is true. They did come out with another Mortal Kombat that they just titled Mortal Kombat. But it was like the 9th or 8th, 9th one.
Why do they keep doing that?
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
frustrating.
so I guess I could also say Mortal Kombat, 1994. Wait, what is this? 1993?
Yeah, 93.
Yeah.
There's also the 2 movies called Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
There are 2 of them called just Mortal Kombat. And
Just a tad bit confusing.
Yeah. So we're talking about the original, the OG Mortal Kombat game. And we played it on SNES.
Yeah.
Or Super Nintendo.
Arguably one of the worst versions of it.
Yeah, true.
Not arguably. That's accurate.
All right. For those of you who don't know, Mortal Kombat is the first game of the Mortal Kombat fighting game series by Midway. It was released in arcades in 1992 and was on most consoles by 1994. It centers on the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament and the ultimate defeat of the evil Shang Tsung by the Shaolin monk Liu Kang. So Doug, you got the history all lined up for us?
I do have a bit of a history lined up on Mortal Kombat.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Eric, are you excited?
I'm excited.
You ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. Oh, boy. To explain Mortal Kombat history, we must first start with a little company called Midway.
Yes, yes.
So Midway Games Incorporated is one of the world's leading producers of video games. The company designs, publishes, and markets games for coin-operated arcade machines, as well as home video games, consoles, and personal computers. Midway has published and distributed some of the most popular games in the industry, including Mortal Kombat series, Cruis'n the USA.
Yeah. Cruis'n USA.
Another one maybe you've heard of, NBA Jam.
Oh, yeah. That's right, man. Those games are
Classic.
so good.
Dude, NBA
So they pretty much do it all. They do arcade, they do home, they do PC. Do they do board games? Do they do interactive VR games
Actually,
now?
Midway goes a lot further than just simply video games. That's only a small percentage of their overall company.
That's pretty cool.
But they've also done a couple other games, one of which you may have heard of, a little game known as Pac-Man.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So
How
that's
can you
like,
forget
they've been
Pac-Man?
around for a really long time.
Yeah, that one got a little popular.
And it's old, right? That's one of the first arcade games, maybe?
I would call it old, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So Midway's been around for a while.
I don't think it's the first, but it's one of the first, right?
one of the
Yes.
first popular ones, for sure.
I think so.
But the Mortal Kombat line alone has sold more than 14 million units. It has brought Midway over $1 billion, and at the beginning of 1998 accounted for more than 20% of the company's annual revenue.
Wow.
Dang.
So that's just, again, Midway is a big company, and video games is just one of their venues.
That's cool.
But that is accounted for, again, 20% of their annual revenue for a long time.
So this game, it technically came out in 1992 for arcades, right?
That is true.
So by 1998, you're saying Mortal Kombat made up 20% of their revenue?
That is what I've read, yes.
Wow. That's nuts.
That just shows like how fast it took off and how popular it got
Yeah.
in such a short amount of time.
So in the early 90s, Capcom had released arcade games like Street Fighter II and Fatal Fury, which were huge hits. The games really helped ramp up their popularity for the fighting game genre. And that enabled Midway to essentially say, we want to get in on this.
So basically, like, fighting games were taken off. Like they were just getting popular?
Yeah, so here's where I have to divulge into my own personal stories.
That's fine. Go for it.
My very good friend and I were obsessed with the arcade game Street Fighter 2. And there was a day that he called my house, and he got my mom on the phone, and she said, Douglas, there's a call for you. And I got on the phone with him, and he said, dude, you've got to get over at the arcade right now. Right now.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It sounds like a movie.
There's a game that'll put Street Fighter 2 to shame. I just watched someone rip someone else's head off with their spine attached. And I was like, I'm there. I'm coming right now. I promise.
Did you get on your bike and go down there?
No, I had to ask my mom to take me for a ride. And I also had to ask her.
If it was a movie, you would have got on your bike and you would have rode there fast as you could.
It would have been more dramatic if you had a bike.
It would have, like E.T. or something. But I had to ask. I also had to ask my mom for, like, can I have $5 for quarters?
Aww.
Yeah.
But just sitting there watching the line of, teenagers and kids my age, like, at this arcade, it was revolutionary. And I realized at that moment, like, here's the moment where video games change. Mm-hmm. And man, it was.
And it changed. Why? Just because.
I'll just say, to be a boy at that age in 1992, to see that kind of technology on an arcade game, and to see that kind of violence around the time that Predator and Terminator 2 had come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a boy's dream. Of course, it was a mother's nightmare.
True.
But it was a revolutionary time.
Well, apparently it was America's nightmare. I'm sure we'll get into that part later.
Oh, we will.
But that's cool. So, like, you remember your memories of, like, it very first getting to the arcade in your town and your best friend just like, holy fucking shit, check this game out.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I love it. I don't really have any memories like that of like arcades or anything. So I don't know. That's a cool story.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the arcade for the first time, and it was pretty nuts. Yeah, it definitely stood out, especially if someone actually knew how to do the fatalities.
Oh my gosh.
Because you only actually saw them if someone knew how to do them.
Yeah.
I will say that doing the special moves and the fatalities on the arcade with the joystick versus a D-pad is quite a different
I
ball
bet.
game.
Yeah.
Back in the day, how did you even know what the fatality moves were?
You had to hear them from
word
a
of mouth.
friend. It
Wow,
was exactly
so
word
old
of mouth.
school.
So someone had to like push buttons and figure them out.
It's probably the same. Your friend had to call you and be like, dude, I figured it out. It's up, down, low kick.
Yeah. That didn't work. I've just spent $25 on this.
Yeah,
Dude, that's how
they
they get you, man.
That is how they get you.
So, Midway was looking to break into the fighting game genre with their own original game. The company had merged with Williams at the tail end of the 80s. It was from them that they acquired the internal development studio that would make them a household name amongst gamers. Artist John Tobias had already made a name for himself in development with working with games like Smash TV.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
And Total Carnage.
Yeah.
Oh, so
And
some violent games.
Oh, yeah. And he ended up teaming up with someone who's named Ed Boon.
Oh, yes. We know who that is.
So Ed Boon was a programmer that started at Williams, and he started in a pinball gaming company. But he also made games like Night 2000 and moving on into development with High Impact Football series. So one of the most inspirational things for me about this game was John Tobias and Ed Boon's idea to use digitized photographs of actual actors doing these martial art moves. They actually photographed actors doing the high kicks, the high punches, the fly kicks.
Yeah, we actually went to this panel during Dragon Con that had two of the main martial arts guys on it. And they had this video playing of the actors from Mortal Kombat doing, just like what you just said, the moves. And they actually had these boxes set up for some of the kicks and stuff.
Yeah, so they could
and
hold
some
like
of
a
the
pose.
flying poses, so they could actually hold those. And it was cool seeing like behind the scenes footage of it and like how they got those digital photographs from like really old film video, obviously, because that's what they had back then.
Yeah, wasn't it like a borrowed camera or something?
Yeah, and like eventually they had to start using the film like over because film was expensive back then.
Yeah.
So like once they got done using some of the first like shots that they took and incorporated that into the game, they would just record over that with the next martial artist or actor, and it was like, oh my god, I bet that footage would be worth so much today. Like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh. I mean, that's how it was back then.
Yeah,
like, film was so expensive. Even Disney, other big companies would reuse film because it was just expensive.
Yeah, you kind of had to.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And do you know any of the actors that played the characters of, for instance, Johnny Cage or Liu Kang? Or
I feel like if you said it, I would be like, yeah, those people. But not like if we're at trivia right now, I'd be like, I don't know.
I definitely don't know any actors in anything.
Well, that's true. Eric's not good at any actors, period.
one of the also interesting facts was there were only 4 people working on Mortal Kombat 1 for I think 10 months, and that was the arcade. Now several people worked on bringing it to the SNES and for instance, the Sega Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there was one motion capture actor that played Johnny Cage and Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Oh, yeah.
And Reptile. Mm-hmm. Master Daniel Pacina.
Yes. That was one of the guys on the panel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. He told a lot of funny stories. That was a really good panel.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of them was just talking about how unglamorous the whole thing was because they were on such a budget. And so it was like anything that he knew would make editing easier for the people because there was no Photoshop, right? Like anything he could do to make it easier for them in post-production, like they would do it. And I think that's where the t-shirt came in because like they were going to have to edit something.
Yeah, someone was going to have to come back and like black all that out anyway. So
yeah, so they're like, no, we'll just wrap a t-shirt around my neck. Like that's good enough for what we're doing, you know? So were they one of the first games to use that kind of technology?
Yeah, the digital photography,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And also, he actually, Daniel Pacina, kind of oversaw the martial arts of while they were doing the production of the game. He was kind of the mastermind behind all the footage and the martial arts of it. However, I was going to move on to console controversy.
What?
you mean this game was controversial?
Yeah, there were a few people that had some problems with it. The controversy in the media served to fuel Mortal Kombat's popularity in the arcades. By the time the game was set to launch on the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, it had reached critical mass. Even though it was popular in arcades across the country, parents were calling for home versions to be censored.
Oh my gosh.
Attempts to censor Mortal Kombat arcades resulted in sharply decreased profits. However, public demanded blood.
We want blood.
So I will tell y'all, when I was obsessed with this arcade as a kid and loved it, and when it finally was released on the Super Nintendo and my mom took me to the store, we bought it and came back home and I played it for a little while, and I started playing with my favorite characters and realized, what's going on here? Like, why is blood not coming out of their heads?
Something's different.
Yeah, something's off.
And not in a good way.
And so Liu Kang was my favorite character, so I did his fatality. He just simply, did a little twirl kick and then uppercutted them.
Yeah.
And I saw no blood, so then I was like, let me try something. Let me try Johnny Cage. And then I performed his fatality and I was like, did he just put his foot in the guy's chest as opposed to uppercut his head off? I was so upset as a 9-year-old boy. I literally cried myself to sleep that night.
Oh my gosh.
You would have thought my dog just passed away.
Oh my gosh. I bet you weren't the only one. I would have been really upset too. I'd be like, what the heck? This is not what I intended to buy.
So Nintendo took this standpoint of we're not quite ready to have this level of violence to our audience.
Nintendo
right now.
usually leans more on the family side of things. It seems like anyway.
Well, it only took them one game. After Mortal Kombat 2, they kind of lit up. But
they're like, we need that cha-ching.
Yeah, they're like, oh wait, Sega seems cooler than us now that they let all the blood be in there.
Yeah.
So isn't it Mortal Kombat's fault, basically, that games are rated now? Wasn't it Mortal Kombat 1 and a few other games that basically that like led to the Congress or whatever passing like the law that like all the games have to be rated?
I don't think Congress did anything. It's just the video game industry got together and was like, we got to do something before Congress does something. So that's when they came out with the rating system. And honestly, like, I feel like the rating system is probably fine.
Mortal Kombat and Doom. But you know what? That rating system is the same kind of rating system that they would put on CDs. So
yeah, or like DVD or movies right now.
Yeah.
Like,
That's fine.
So it was kind of up to the parents to then decide.
Yeah.
But essentially, they were trying to ban games like Mortal Kombat, violent video games, from even being produced or sold.
Yeah, because there's like all the hysteria, like, violent video games are going to make you violent, that kind of thing. The 90s were fun.
Yeah, I mean, they've been saying that about movies for how many years?
I don't know, probably since they were invented.
Don't get me started, because I had to do a research project in like 5th grade where we had to choose a theme, and the theme that I chose was censorship does not belong in the media. So this is like around 95, 96, and there wasn't Google at the time. So the available options that we had on the school computers, I tried my hardest searching for reasons why censorship should not be in the media or on video games or movies or TV shows or music. There was very little out there, and so all the research results that I ended up getting, I ended up having to put my foot in my mouth and just change my theme to, well, it turns out censorship should be in the media.
Just a little bit, at least.
Yeah.
No, but that was a huge controversy, and Joe Lieberman, the senator at the time, who eventually was Al Gore's running mate in the 2000 election, he was the one who was leading the charge on the whole censorship of video games, and which inevitably resulted in the ESRB rating.
Yeah, and I'm fine with how it turned out, where they just kind of regulated themselves like they probably should have done to start with.
True.
But yeah, I'm glad it didn't come to anything from the government doing anything. And I don't know if legally they could have anyway, because, then it goes into First Amendment
They
issues.
could have just made them label it, though. Like, because
yeah, that's true.
Movies are like that, right? That's a law that they have to be rated, maybe? Or, I don't know, maybe not. Because there are some unrated movies. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm not an expert.
We are not experts on constitutional law.
Anyways. Anyway, so Mortal Kombat came out on September 13th, 1993 for SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. Did you have a Game Gear?
Yeah, I did. I think I actually might have even had Mortal Kombat for Game Gear.
Of course, Eric had a Game
That's true.
Fuck you.
I had pretty much everything.
Yeah, I did have a Game Gear. I still have those Game Gears. They don't work anymore.
Oh, R.I.P. Game Gears.
Yeah, they're just like black screen.
Yeah.
But you own the physical heavyweight.
God, man, those things were they destroyed batteries. You could play for a good hour and a half, and then,
my
then you had to
God.
get 6 more batteries or 9 more batteries or 8. I forget how many I think it was 8 batteries. 8 AA batteries is what they took.
Holy crap, that's so many batteries.
I never had
Just the batteries alone make it weigh like a pound.
Yeah, and you could get this rechargeable thing that would go on the bottom that weighed 20 pounds, and it would give you another 2 hours on top of the batteries.
Did you have that too?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever owned a single Sega Genesis product. I never had a Sega Genesis, and I never had a Game Gear. I never even had a Dreamcast. But
Yeah, me either.
I did have at least 1 or 2 Game Boys, and I definitely owned Mortal Kombat on the Game
Oh,
Boys.
nice.
I'm telling you, it was if it wasn't already a slap in the face for Mortal Kombat to give you the dumbed down censored version of Mortal Kombat on the SNES to then try playing it on the Game Boy.
Yeah,
that's
with
rough.
no color, right? Because that was before the
No color, no backlight, so you had to like
Oh my
kind of
God.
like angle it towards a light.
So the way they converted the violence from the arcade to the SNES, they replaced the blood with what I guess people call spit, or they basically they just colored it gray.
Yeah.
And so, like, you just either thought it was spit or sweat or I don't know.
Yeah.
So now convert that to the Game Boy. You have two
Oh my
colors.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either a colored pixel or it's not.
Yeah.
Well, what
Man,
were the
the
Game Boy
olden
colors?
days.
Like black and green or something like that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the screen, it's like the background was green and all the pixels were
Pixels
black.
are black. Yeah.
So, Doug, do you have any fun facts?
Oh, just a few.
Nice.
You probably didn't even have to look any up, did you?
Most of the ones that I have, I did not have to look up. I just had to confirm. Okay, here's one. The actor Jean-Claude Van Damme was the inspiration behind Johnny Cage.
What?
Fun fact.
You could never guess that.
Yeah. But he was played by Daniel Pacina, who Johnny Cage's backstory was even parallels to the iconic narcissistic actor.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
gonna make her podcast controversial. You had to add that extra dig.
Yes. Sorry, Jean. Actually, I love all your movies, especially Bloodsport, one of my favorites.
If you're listening.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme
he's
is
like
definitely listening.
He's y'all's number one fan.
Yeah. I actually heard a story the other day where he got fired from a movie because he couldn't
No shit.
stop talking about kickboxing and martial arts and showing people his sweet moves. Like, it got to the point where he literally got fired because he couldn't just stop doing it.
I wonder how many warnings he got. Like,
I don't know,
This
but
is my
imagine how
surprise
bad it
face.
had to be.
No, that doesn't surprise me at all. But also, Carlos Pacina played Raiden, who is Daniel's younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
So they're brothers. So Daniel Pacina played both, Johnny Cage, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and
Yeah, low
and
budget
Reptile.
here. We gotta
Yeah, exactly.
The actors have to do it all.
They only had like $500,000 to do the entire game. But also, so he got his younger brother to play Raiden. Fun fact number 3. The characters were modeled after villains from Big Trouble in Little China. A little movie that we might all have seen.
Yeah.
So Raiden was modeled after a character from that movie, and so was Shang Tsung.
Okay.
I only watched that movie like 2 or 3 times as a kid.
I don't know if I've ever watched
I'm
that
sorry,
movie.
whoever's listening. I haven't memorized the movie, but I do remember some of the characters, and I definitely knew that when I was playing this game, I'm like, they were inspired by this movie.
This game is drawing from a lot of other references that I recognize.
Something's familiar here. All right, but fun fact number, what number?
4.
am I?
4, yeah.
All right. Oh goodness. So do you know how they created the name Mortal Kombat?
No,
They spelled
Do you-
combat with a K.
they
It
did.
is spelled combat with a K.
Because they
Got
love the
it.
Kardashians.
So, because they love the Kardashians. So, pinball and game designer Steve Ritchie, a friend of Ed Boon's, came up with the name of Mortal Kombat on a whim by catching a glance of a misspelled combat on the latter's drawing board during a visit to his office. So he was just hanging out with Ed Boon one day, and they just happened to look over at their drawing board. He's like, "Hey, someone misspelled combat with a K. Hey, I know what you should name your game."
Oh my gosh, that's great. I love it.
Oh my god.
And for those who don't know, Ed Boon, he's the main creator of Mortal Kombat, right? Or the artistic director.
No, Ed Boon was more the programmer.
Okay, programmer. Okay.
Honestly, the if I had to give the credit, I think John Tobias was more the creator, the one who got the leading project, and then hired asked his friend Ed Boon, the programmer, to join. So,
Gotcha.
So John Tobias was really the creative artist.
Cool.
Okay.
Behind it.
Because I know Ed Boon still works on
Oh, yeah.
the Mortal
So
Kombat games
they
to
did-
the most recent one. Even.
Yes, they did eventually kind of split ways, and Ed Boon kind of continued the Mortal Kombat series.
Okay.
But as far as Mortal Kombat 1 goes,
Yeah.
John Tobias was really kind of the head leader of the project, who had his friend Ed Boon, the programmer, come on with and creatively help him come up with the game. He program the game and figure it all out. They were a duo from the beginning, but they did eventually split. But that was well after Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So we're gonna move on. What's next, Eric?
We talk about story.
So basically, Goro's been undefeated for like 500 years, right?
Okay, stop. All right, so Outworld, a different realm, is trying to take over Earthrealm.
Yes.
And there was a pact made thousands of years ago between the Elder Gods that in order for Outworld, and Shao Kahn runs Outworld, in order for Outworld to take over Earthrealm, they have to have a tournament every, 100 years or 50 years? And Outworld has won every single year.
For 9 in a row, right?
And Shang Tsung and Goro have defeated all of Earthrealm's combatants for the last 500 years.
Yeah, the last 9 tournaments, I think.
And Raiden is the Thunder God and protector of the Earthrealm. And so he's kind of the, I guess, head honcho to make sure that Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn don't overstep their bounds. They have to abide by the rules. So where Mortal Kombat 1 begins is the last tournament, the 10th tournament. As long as Outworld wins this tournament, they get to take over Earthrealm.
Yeah.
So here's where the video game begins.
Because we have to stop them.
Yeah, exactly. And guess who, in the storyline, if we get into Mortal Kombat 2, guess who defeated Shang Tsung?
Liu Kang.
Liu Kang.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, I know this from the movie.
Yeah, they decided Liu Kang ended up being the champion of the 10th Mortal Kombat tournament.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the storyline.
Yeah, so
that's a good
you're
rundown.
stopping
That's
another
perfect.
realm from taking over Earthrealm.
For some reason,
And it's now or never.
they
Now or
totally
never.
abide by these weird rules that have this tournament to make
Hey,
the game possible.
don't question it. Just do it.
What, are we getting into Star Wars rules now?
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Sorry, my bad. Just a weird thing.
How does a human being form fire in their hand? And
Don't question it.
The 10th time is the charm.
Apparently.
That makes sense. 10, that's a good round number.
It's a good number.
It's a good number. So do we want to move on to what we like about the game?
Yeah.
Doug, would you like to go first since you did pick this game and you probably have a million things you like about it?
Violence.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, I've said it before, but especially for a 10-year-old boy in 1993 or 1992, that level of violence. And I will say that I also read this, Ed Boon and John Tobias, they did not originally intend for the game to be as violent as it was. It kind of progressed into, when they were first creating it, they did not intend for the game to be this violent. It just kind of progressed as they were developing it. But yes, the violence, that was the key factor in that. It also kind of revolutionized video games from there, henceforth.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If we can get away with this,
What else can we get
Kind
away
of set
with?
a new standard.
I will say, I think we got robbed because you made us play the Super Nintendo version, and I definitely think we should have played the Genesis version.
Yeah.
Because I want the blood.
Yeah. They had the blood code.
And it's like, that is the main cool thing about Mortal Kombat that I like, is the gore and the violence. But for this one in particular, it's a little,
I felt
lacking.
I've still, to this day, never played the Sega Genesis version of Mortal
so
Kombat.
no wonder you didn't give it to us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, by Mortal Kombat 2, all the violence was there. So
Yeah.
But even without the blood, it's still pretty violent. And yeah, I like the violence too. I like that this game is pretty simple. Pretty much anyone can pick up Mortal Kombat and play it. Whether you're going to be good or bad at it, that's a whole different story. But if you're just playing around with your friends, you can just pick it up, be a button masher. You could probably still win a couple rounds.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not playing someone that's really experienced or whatever.
Yeah, one of the nice things is the controls aren't overly complex.
Yeah.
And they're there aren't like a million moves to learn
That's
for
true.
each character. There's like 2 or 3. It's not too bad.
Yeah, for a lot of the characters, they have like kind of the same button configurations. Will do this different stuff, but
Yeah.
you know.
Very true. One of my other pros was brings family together.
Yeah.
Or rips them
Together or
apart.
apart. It depends on what your family is like, right?
So I had an older brother, and Eric does too. And playing games like this, like my older brother would play. We would both play, Mario or Zelda, but they were single player games. And sometimes when I couldn't get past a level, I'd give it to my older brother.
Yeah.
But, this was a competitive game that I loved playing with my brother, and I was determined to keep playing and playing and playing at it until I could beat him. That was one of the most important things. And same thing with my very good friend. Like, he would beat me, and then I finally had to learn a strategy where I could turn it around on him.
Yeah.
That was one of the most fun things to me about this game, was getting so frustrated, and I broke several SNES controllers.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure.
To this game, getting so frustrated until I finally had to just, all right, calm down, just pick a new strategy, try doing something else.
Yeah.
And try jump kicking.
Hey, these are life lessons that
Yeah.
Mortal
They
Kombat
are.
has taught you. You gotta have a
Absolutely.
plan A, B, C, and D.
It has actually helped me keep calm in my job to these days.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Just let them have it.
And it's cool that this was, you have other games that you play with your family and stuff, but this is the first game you can play against your family, kind of,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not, you don't have to work together, you don't have to be buds, you can just kick each other's asses.
My last pro, and by far, was fatalities. So playing Street Fighter 2, playing other fighting games, you beat them and they fall down and you win. With Mortal Kombat, you always got the opportunity, if you could do it, the fatality. If
Oh,
you could,
yeah.
If you can do it.
and that was just kind of the icing on the cake. Like, I didn't just beat you, I killed you.
Yeah, I just killed your
Brutally.
character in a brutal way. That was amazing.
What do you like, Eric?
So one of my pros is the characters are really memorable.
Oh, yeah, I have that too. Cool
Yeah,
characters.
you have Blue Ninja, Yellow Ninja,
The girl.
the girl. Seriously though, they did actually come up with backstories for all the characters, and they all felt pretty unique. Like, my favorite is Goro, for instance. Giant muscly guy with 4 arms.
Oh, yeah.
How can you forget Goro? He's he's such a memorable character.
Oh, yeah.
And such a ridiculously intimidating boss.
Oh, my gosh.
And they built up a long back storyline for him
Mm-hmm.
more and more throughout future Mortal Kombat games. But that was the most intimidating, kind of boss character for me. And that wasn't even the final boss.
Yeah.
I liked it. They're almost like superheroes, sort of. Some of them have, in a way that some of them have powers and things like that to make them a little bit more unique, but they're not good by any means. So it's not you have Superman or anything, but they do have their little cool things that I haven't really seen any other powers that I haven't really seen any other characters have, really, like the chain that comes out of your arm and things like that. Those are still pretty unique,
Well,
at least
yeah.
as
And
far as
here's-
I can think of.
And here's where I could go on for 2 more hours, but I know we don't have that kind of time, for why each character has their kind of powers, the backstory behind Sub-Zero, the backstory behind Scorpion, the backstory behind Kano, backstory. No,
They could legit do origin movies for all of the characters.
absolutely. And with the, again, kind of going a little off topic, but the last Mortal Kombat movie, they did kind of give somewhat of a backstory reason, for why they have their powers, why Jax has metal arms, why Sonya can all of a sudden shoot purple rings out, why Liu Kang can shoot fire out of his hands. But really, at the time, they were really just trying to kind of copy off of Street Fighter. Each character has a projectile, and each character can kind of do a Sub-Zero's sweep, or Liu Kang's fly kick, or Kano's cannonball, or Raiden's I don't even know what you want to call the torpedo. Ayuba Bubale.
It's Superman.
Yeah.
I've heard it called the Superman. My friend and I would do that at Whitewater with each other. Like we would just push off the wall and in the underwater be like, are you?
Oh my god, I love it.
That's amazing.
I also think it's cool that you can unlock stuff in this game. So there's Reptile that you can unlock. I forgot how, but it's like very special, unique set of circumstances.
You don't
right?
unlock the character; you just get to fight the character.
But you unlock the fight,
yeah.
Right? Like because he's not in the game if you play it normally, so you do have to unlock his character to be in the game.
Yeah, they
right?
eventually would add him to later games.
Is there other characters you can unlock, or is it just him?
That is the single only unlock.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking there was more, but I probably because I'm just thinking of some of the newer games. I know they kept going with that.
Yeah, of course. And so, like you said, in just the second game, Reptile was a playable character.
Mm-hmm.
But then they eventually came out with... So this was... I don't want to say Mortal Kombat was the first game to have a secret hidden character that you could fight like that. I'm not sure. I tried to research that and I couldn't find that.
Must be one of them, right? At least.
But then they took off with that. And on the second game, I will say there's the hidden character called Noob Saibot.
Yeah.
And do you know where that name came from?
No.
All right, so Ed Boon and John Tobias. Noob Saibot.
Nice.
They just flipped their last names around.
That's cool.
That's a hidden character. He's just instead of a blue or yellow or green ninja, he's a black ninja.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
I don't know. If I ever make a video game, I'm definitely sneaking my own name, all kinds of stuff in there. I'm gonna Easter egg it up.
Just flips Smith and Ludke around.
Yeah. I also what else do you like, Eric?
So I like the balance between characters. Felt pretty good for the most part. Scorpion and Sub-Zero have some kind of cheap stun moves, but they're not too bad. For the most part, the characters are pretty well balanced.
Yeah.
And mostly because also there aren't just a ton of moves in general. There aren't a ton of special moves.
That's true.
It was 1992.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I think is so cool about Mortal Kombat, and it is an old game, but everybody knows what Mortal Kombat is. You say you want to play some Mortal Kombat, people are like, hell yeah, I want to play some Mortal Kombat. Everybody knows what kind of game it is because it changed everything. It made such a big impact. And I don't know, if I met someone that hasn't heard of Mortal Kombat, I would be like, what cult did you grow up in? How do you not know this?
You'd be surprised the amount of friends that I have who are hardcore gamers. I'm like, hey, you want to play some Mortal Kombat 11? They're like, what? No, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, what the fuck?
Come on.
That's funny, man. So my final pro is it's one of the only games that have a somewhat decent movie that followed its release.
Oh, that's true.
One of the very first, I would say good in quotation marks because, it's more just decent.
I love the Mortal Kombat
No, don't get me wrong.
movies.
I love it too, but it didn't win any Oscars or anything like that.
Oscars,
you sure about that one?
I don't give a crap what movies win the Oscars. And actually, I was really excited. This was one movie I was really excited for them to do a remake of, just because I knew the special effects would really just really help that movie out a lot. And I liked the new movies too.
Yeah, I like the new one too.
I will say, when the very first one came out, I think it was 1995, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, August 18th, 1995, in the theaters.
Did you go see it in the theaters?
So my birthday is August 17th.
Oh, nice.
I damn sure saw it in the theaters with my friends, and we had a blast.
Oh, I
loved
bet.
it, fell in love with it. Then 30 years later, watching that movie, I'm like, This is fucking stupid.
Really? I don't know. I watched it again. I thought it held up.
It's a little cheesy, but
for nostalgic reasons, I still loved it. But like, there was, as all Hollywood movies do, like we have to change the story and bend the rules.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of things now looking back on it that I.
That's true. When I watched the movie, I had no idea what really anything about the game because I was so young and I didn't really start playing video games until more recently. So like I just had the movie. I didn't know the source material, but I thought it was cool, and I thought the special effects even back then, they did such a neat job. Like seeing Goro for the first time with the 4 arms, like that was just cool. Like I'll never forget that. I thought that was the neatest character. They
did do a good job on making the full body character and making 4 arms move. I don't know if it was robotically, but for me, it was almost kind of Jim Henson-ish. But the certain times where he, like when Johnny Cage punches him in the nuts and his face like, oh, I think even as a kid I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it, but like really.
I kind of miss movies today. I feel like they don't always have like that fun campiness to them that like movies in the 90s did.
Oh yeah.
And I wish more movies would just be a little
campier.
Like, just not trying to make everything so serious, so realistic. All the Marvel movies.
Let's spend $1 billion on a movie.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And I actually work in that fucking industry. I get it. I totally get it.
You're like, I'm a part of that $1 billion, but still.
Yeah. You can stop talking right now. That's actually paying my mortgage.
We should never go see another movie again, Nicky.
Please go see every Marvel movie that has ever been made in theaters.
All right. You guys have any criticisms of the game?
Oh yeah, I do for sure. So one thing, like I played the arcade game a little bit, but not a whole bunch. But I feel like they didn't really do a whole lot to change the game from arcade mode to console mode, because it still had a lot of the same things. Like when you get game over, you have that countdown to continue.
Yeah,
I feel like that's an arcade game thing.
That was pretty common back in the day,
even
too.
For console games?
Yeah, even for console games, yeah.
I just was like, they just kind of took it and like, I don't know, didn't really adjust it very much.
That's kind of what people wanted, though. They wanted a play-at-home arcade game, so...
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like that was... The arcade game was so popular, kids wanted as much of a recreation of the arcade as they could possibly get.
In fact, it was kind of a disappointment if they strayed too far from the arcade game.
Which they did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this is just me, as like a more newer gamer, but like it just feels like the countdown thing. You don't need that. Like you should just be able to restart as soon as you get game over.
Well, that was like an arcade thing. Like to put a quarter in, like you have this much time.
I know. But you don't need that on Super Nintendo.
It was very much. I kind of thought about this before. It was very much like kids playing, like casino or slots.
Yeah.
You put a quarter in, you get to play, and if you lose, the person who won gets to keep playing, but you have now 9 seconds to put another quarter in and then keep playing.
And it makes sense for arcade, but then once you put it on the console, they could have I don't know how hard it was back then, but couldn't they just taken that part out and just have
they didn't really need to because it wasn't a big deal for that to be in there.
Okay. Well, it's just something I noticed. I was like, why didn't they change it more?
If you had 2 controllers and there's no quarter involved, exactly.
Yeah, you don't really need the timer.
Yeah. Is there anything you don't like about the game, Doug? You have any cons?
I had a couple.
What?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm just kidding.
Things that were later improved on future games, but it's a very frustrating game.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Good point, Doug.
I mentioned this before, but I broke many SNES controllers playing this game.
I wanted to break our controllers trying to play this game.
So as far as the challenge, I did eventually beat the game, and I did eventually perform every fatality, but trying to unlock the reptile battle
my God.
I'd get a flawless victory, and then I would almost get a second flawless break, and then they would like low kick me.
One hit, yeah.
And I was like, "This is Eric's controller. I can't throw it."
I appreciate your self-control.
Must have control.
I brought that back, by the way. It's on my back.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
But all right, so that was it's a frustrating game. It can.
Yeah.
But
so like piggyback off that, I have like for me, I think, and I don't know if this is just the Super Nintendo controller, but it was super hard for me to get the moves to work. Like I would literally do what the move said because we printed out a sheet with all the moves, and I would try like the knife throw for Kano. It was like hold back, press forward,
hold block, and then back
block. Yeah.
On our sheet, it said back. No wonder it couldn't get
block.
that to work. I was like, I tried that so many times.
It was definitely.
I gave up on throwing that knife.
It definitely said block.
Well, I guess
I
I read back. My bad. But there was some other moves that weren't that. Like some of the other special moves that I tried to do so many times, and I just really couldn't get them to work. And especially not fast enough before they attacked me.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like...
It definitely takes some practice to get some of the moves.
Yeah, you almost need to practice playing like on 2-player, but with no one on the second player. Yeah. So you have time to actually like see if you can get the moves to work. Because if you're trying it in real time, it's like, no, not unless you're a really fast learner. Like,
I will say I was quite frustrated because... First of all, I had this game on like the little SNES Mini, and I think we let someone borrow it, and we never got it back. But also, I remember having downloaded like the first 3 Mortal Kombat games on like Xbox One, and so when y'all brought this up, I tried looking that up, and it didn't exist anymore.
Oh,
so
no.
I was at a loss. I was like, I've loved this game for 30 years, and I've owned it in like 7 different platforms. and like now that y'all are asking me to do
now
this,
that you've chosen it for a podcast.
Yeah, like, I have to. I literally have to ask y'all. Can I borrow a Raspberry? But also like Eric gave me like the one controller, and I was playing it, but I could only ever play against the AI.
Oh yeah.
And so
I was thinking maybe you'd have another USB controller, but
thing is, I had other controllers that connected through USB, but they didn't work through the Raspberry.
Oh, dang.
But anyway, so I chalked it up. I was like, you know what? Like, I've done this 1,000 times. I can do it again against the AI. So I did. Like, I would just, I would pick a character, do the first round, or do the first, the first opponent, beat them, do the fatality, and then like quit. and like pick the next character, beat them, do the next. So it was frustrating, and especially the reptile. But like unlocking that, oh my, that was the absolute most frustrating thing because it took, like I said, it took so long to like once you finally got there, and if they low kicked you one time,
you had to wait for the stage to come up in rotation out of the 6 stages.
How do you unlock reptile again?
It's on one particular level. So there's 6 different levels you can fight on, and they rotate like every fight. So every time you either lose a fight or win a fight, the next time, like if you continue or if you beat your opponent, you'll go to the next level.
Yeah.
And so there's 6 stages it rotates between. The stage you have to do it on is called the pit. Yeah, and it comes up 4th in the original rotation.
Okay.
So you basically have to do 2 flawless victories in a row and then perform the fatality.
Oh, gosh.
In order to unlock the reptile fight.
Oh, my gosh.
And you also can't hit the block button. Of course, if you're trying to get a flawless victory, blocking doesn't really help you anyway because it takes a small amount of hit points to block.
That sounds like something I'm never going to be able to do.
Yeah, it's very hard. So one of my cons was that the Shang Tsung final boss is kind of a letdown after fighting Goro. He's cool that he can like transform into any other character, but fighting him just ends up feeling like a regular fight. Especially compared to Goro, who will like literally just pick your character up and just start like smashing him. And he's also like immune to one of the cheapest and like easiest ways to beat your opponent, which is the back sweep kick.
Yeah.
So you can't do that on him. So you have to kind of rely on maybe more jump kicks and special moves and stuff. But yeah, just in terms of difficulty, I feel like Goro was way harder.
Yeah, he looks way like more interesting and scarier too.
I found Goro and Shang Tsung to be way easier than the endurance.
Yeah,
matches.
the endurance ones are the hardest ones for sure.
those
'cause
stupid endurance matches.
The just constantly jumping back away from Goro and then occasionally jump kicking him, and occasionally getting to uppercut him or throw a projectile, but mostly just jumping away. And every now and again, he'll throw his little green projectile, but if you land and block right, at the right time, I actually found Goro and Shang Tsung both to be way easier than the endurance fight.
Yeah, I mean, the endurance fight is basically 2 fights versus like
on one health bar.
Yeah, one health bar, which is, man,
those are pretty hard.
Ridiculously hard.
I didn't make it past the last round of that. I was like, I kept dying.
The third one.
Yeah, I just kept dying. I tried. Another thing is the game does get a little repetitive if you don't change out the characters. You're basically just pressing the same buttons over and over again, and I feel like for this one in particular, it's just more fun to play against your friends or your family.
100%. I feel like the same kind of cheat moves are the ones that are best against the AI, like the special moves and the back sweep.
Yeah,
those tend to and jump kicks and stuff like that. Those tend to work the best against AI opponents. But sometimes spamming the moves over and over again isn't going to work on your friends because,
exactly, because they're a little more random.
Yeah, they can react. They can adapt your strategy and counter it.
Yeah.
Where an AI is going to keep falling for the same moves over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my last con, is exactly repetitive. Especially when it comes to the AI, playing repetitive. Playing against a friend over and over again, though, as long as you're intrigued by the game and it frustrates you enough and you want to keep playing, you're gonna get better. It's the same kind of thing with first person shooters. I've had so many friends tell me the reasons why they don't like playing fighting games or they don't like playing first person shooters. Well, I just kept dying over and over again, and I just said fuck it. I'm like, well, games like those, I actually enjoyed it, and even though I was getting as pissed off as you were, I kept playing and I kept playing and I kept playing, and eventually I won, and then that was the point where I was hooked.
Yeah.
But then I would beat them, and then they would beat me again, and it was like a recycling, all over again. But now I'm even more compelled to well, damn it, I'm gonna learn your strategy. And I'm gonna outdo you. Yeah. So that was really the whole essence of why I got hooked on Mortal Kombat was really between my best friend, my best childhood friend, Matt, beating me. I would beat him, and then finally he'd beat me, and it would piss me off. And he was like, I'll never forget what he said.
Even though you beat him 5 times before that, he'll beat you once and you're mad.
but I'll never forget. I would say you're being so cheap. You just throw me all the time. He's like, well, just do the same thing to me. All right, well, I'll try that. So then I would, and then I would start to beat him, and then he would start sweeping me, and then he would beat me. I'm like, damn it, you're beating. He's like, well, just do that to me. I'm like,
so you guys would just go back and forth.
This is really a life strategy.
So you guys just constantly go back and forth between who's better and who's not.
It was the same thing between me and my older brother, and between me and my best friend. At one point, I would be constantly beating them, and then 30 minutes later, they would be constantly beating me, and I'd get frustrated, and I was like, I'm gonna have to adapt.
Yeah.
Or just quit playing the game.
Yeah.
And instead of quit playing the game, I kept playing, and I got better, and I got better. And now I play Mortal Kombat 11 online, and I kick people's asses all the time.
You're like, ha ha, I'm the best.
30 years later, maybe I should have done something better with my life. But I
Meh. But yeah, any game, I feel like most games, not any game, but most games you start out, you're not very good. You're going to die a lot. And then, you get better as you learn strategy and skill.
Absolutely.
Speaking of skill, what are some of your strategies for this game?
I think I've already revealed mine.
Spam move.
Yeah, spam range moves, and then when they get in close, back leg sweep. I love the back leg sweep because it's unblockable. I mean, you can jump over.
I never figured out how to do the back leg sweep.
It's not unblockable.
It's not the leg sweep. It's not unblockable.
I thought you couldn't block it.
You just got to low block it.
Okay. Well, the AI doesn't block it.
Right. On Mortal Kombat 1, the only, in quotes, unblockable move is the throw.
Oh, okay.
So someone can be blocking high or low, and you can walk up to them and throw them. No, it's you don't get that many opportunities when you're playing against the AI or the computer. But yeah, you can low block a leg sweep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that. I always just assumed it was unblockable because the AI never blocked it.
Yeah. So when Eric first,
Well, you learned something today.
when Eric first brought the Raspberry Pi over to me, so I was playing it. Like it's the first time I'd played the game in like I don't know, however many years, and like I was getting my ass kicked. He was like, leg sweep, leg sweep. Leg sweep.
Coach Eric to the rescue.
I got this, Doug. I know how to win.
But yeah, I watched a speed run today. Someone beat the whole game in like 10 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I don't think I ever
he did it
that.
pretty, he only got a few hits the whole time. I was like, what?
That would be interesting to speed run this game. Like, because the AI is like, it's a wild card.
Yeah.
So speed run against the computer.
Yeah, it was a speed run against the computer. But I noticed that he also did the spam move technique as well.
Yeah. See?
So apparently that's like what the pros do.
Oh,
so yeah, you just spam
against the computer, and I did that while trying to beat the game myself. At a certain point, I was getting low on health. I was like, last ditch ever. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna like sweep like 7 times in a row.
Yeah.
And like I did. And
It
it
almost
worked.
feels like that's cheating
It
a little
does.
bit.
Now, see,
but
here's where
it
I would
works,
throw the
so.
controller. Like when my friend would do that kind of shit to me, and I was like, "That's cheap." He was like, "Just do it to me."
Exactly.
What about you, Nikki?
Oh, well, I didn't do this, but a strategy that I tried to do, but I wasn't successful at, was to actually learn the moves. I did. I really tried. I looked at the sheet. We had a sheet printed out with all the moves for all the characters.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I'm not good at using the D-pad on the Super Nintendo controller. For one, my thumb gets sore very fast. And then I feel like you almost have to do this roll of your thumb thing,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I'm
for
not
sure.
very good at. Hey, that's a strategy right
But
there.
if
Do
you
the
don't-
roll thumb thing.
Roll
like,
thumb.
roll thumb.
If you don't end up with a blister on your thumb after playing this game for a couple hours, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind getting blisters. When I played Katamari, I beat that game so fast. I think I built calluses on my hands from that. But when I'm not getting better at it, then it's like, why am I hurting my thumb for this?
So what moves did you have the easiest time doing? I'm just curious.
So I learned that I played with the best with Kano because he had this one punch thing where you could basically just keep punching and never stop. And then
That's
eventually the
I think-
AI would just walk into your punches.
I think
it was
that's
great.
every character in the game.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they all can do
Oh,
that.
well, I guess I could have used any character. I don't know. I felt like he was the easiest one for me because I tried playing as a bunch of the other characters, but I got the furthest with him. So I don't know.
Alright.
His punch thing worked the easiest.
I will say that different characters have different ranges. It's like, for instance, one of the reasons I always liked Liu Kang, his uppercut had one of the farthest reaching ranges.
Yeah.
So Johnny Cage, if you look at the anime, like the picture, Johnny Cage just punches like straight up in the air,
Oh, yeah.
whereas Liu Kang kind of does this like.
And Kano has a big
and
uppercut thing
Kano
too.
also
I liked
does
that
have a hook.
move too.
And so does Raiden, I believe, as well. Not so much Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and I can't remember Sonya's one, but yeah, every character has like that's one thing that the AI will do to you constantly, just like high punch, high punch, high punch, high punch.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh.
it drains your health.
And you can't get away from it either.
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can't.
you'll try
Yeah.
to like go press down or press back in the middle of it, and you're just kind of stuck there.
Yeah. That's one of my strategies. Don't get caught in the corner.
Shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be in a corner.
I have another stupid one.
Yeah, go for it. Oh, wait.
Don't get angry.
Doug.
Don't get angry and ruin your controllers, Doug.
I would argue against that point. I think getting angry, it makes you better. At this
Man,
game.
like back in the day, how much were Super Nintendo controllers? Oh, were
don't
they
think they were too
expensive?
bad.
Did your mom get really mad at you for breaking them? Like,
oh yeah,
that's
she did.
$25, Doug.
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh, she would get angry. I don't know how much they cost back then.
Yeah.
But she got angry.
If they're comparable to how much controllers are now, they're probably like $50 or something.
Yeah, probably too much.
One of my strategies was timing.
Oh, yeah.
Timing. So learning when to land a jump kick when the opponent's walking up to you, learning when to swing the uppercut, learning at what point to shoot a projectile, or if you're Liu Kang doing a fly kick, or if you're Johnny Cage doing the shadow kick. Timing. It will help you on this game. You know, like, practice makes perfect with my strategy. Just doing like repetition, and that is what this game is about. But if you want to get good at it, you know, timing and practice and patience will teach you the timing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Timing is very important. That's a lot of games, but you know, especially in this one.
Yeah,
especially if you're trying to punch.
Well, after 30 years, you kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Since one of my challenges was to unlock the scorpion fight, I can tell you what my strategy was. Or the reptile fight. Yeah. I can tell you what my strategy was for that.
Sure.
So first of all, it was to change the difficulty to very easy.
Okay. Wow. Yes, that's always a good strategy.
And so, you know, that first fighter, the very first fighter you fight is like super easy compared to the second, third, fourth. Mm-hmm. My strategy was to lose to that fighter until I got to the pit stage.
Oh.
Lose to...
Yeah, keep losing to that fight because it will progress the stage when you continue.
Yeah.
Oh.
So do that 3 times until you get to the pit stage. The only problem is the game starts glitching out when you do this. When you set it on very easy, I can show you a video of what happens. But literally the opponent will just start throwing you. From like not even close to you. They'll just start throwing you back and forth.
So they're superpowers.
And they're not even moving.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden they're like
and we can post this later, but I just want to show you this video real quick because it's fucking nuts. I feel like they know that you're gonna try this strategy and they go ahead and like program the AI to like just be unfair like this. They're like, we know what you're trying to do. You're trying to win this reptile fight or get to it.
I had a friend back in like middle school I played a lot of video games with, and like he would always say like, Doug, you have a knack for like figuring out how to fuck the game up, or like in ways that like the programmers didn't even, they did not intend for this to happen. And but he was right. Like I would always like find like a wall that I would get stuck in, or like, you know, something like
That's funny.
That's exactly what you just found. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, so basically it's like the character that you're playing is in the middle and they're just slinging you back and forth.
Yeah, they're not even
almost like they're like if they were doing it by like grabbing your leg, except they're not touching.
Yeah, so normally you have to be like right next to someone to do a throw, but yeah, they're just doing a throw from far away and they're not moving at all while they're doing it. But you're going across the screen back and forth, so it's like they have you on a rope or something.
Yeah, like you're just a rag doll. You're just a little rag doll being flopped back and forth.
Yeah. Like your character is supposed to have to stand up first, and whether they're blocking or not, that you can throw them. And Eric's character was just like laying on the ground and still I've never seen that before. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it does that, but if you turn the difficulty up to easy, then it doesn't do that. It doesn't glitch out.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so that's what I did to get to the reptile fight. It's funny. I should have gotten it twice. The first time I did it, I thought you were just uppercutting them into the pit and didn't realize you had to do a fatality.
Yeah.
So I did that. I'm like, where's the reptile fight? I'm like, and then I looked it up. I'm like, damn it.
Like, no.
I looked it up a long time ago too, but I always used Liu Kang, and his fatality involves an uppercut. So you always fell into the pit. So for the longest time, I thought you had to just uppercut them into the pit. Mm-hmm. But whatever character you're using, two flawless victories, and then finish them.
Yeah.
Sounds super hard.
But yeah, that fight is ridiculously hard, even on easy, because if they do anything at all.
Yeah. You make one little mistake.
Yeah, you have to be like perfect almost. Yeah. Ugh. Well, you do have to be.
I'm not good at being perfect.
And it's frustrating because sometimes you'll get that first match and then you'll get to the second match and they'll do just one little thing.
And my mom got scared. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm ready to talk about the future.
The future of
Mortal Kombat. Are you guys ready?
Yeah. So the series is still alive, right?
It's
still going.
Alive and kicking. Apparently you can still play it online. So like the servers are up and everything.
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 11 is. I was playing it earlier today.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
I beat people today.
See? Nice. I played Mortal Kombat 10. I don't know if I played Mortal Kombat 11.
We definitely have 10.
Okay. But Yeah, it's still going strong. Apparently, there is a Mortal Kombat 12 in the works, and it's actually supposed to be released 2023 sometime.
I had it as April 16th, 2023.
Ooh, you found the date?
I found a date, but it's far enough in the future where it could definitely get changed.
Because, yeah, when I looked, I just could find sometime in 2023, but, ooh, April.
Yeah.
Are you excited, Doug, for Mortal Kombat 12?
No, not at all.
Why?
Oh, what?
No, of course I am.
I'm like, did you hear? I was like, did you hear something? Are they getting rid of something big?
But
Are they?
I would say this. I also looked up some. I don't do the Twitters, but I looked up some Twitter interviews with Ed Boon, and people asking about any kind of reveals, and if it was going to be released in, like you said, April 2023, which is only 5 months away.
Yeah.
There's no way they would only allow 4 months of
Marketing time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe that's been pushed back already.
My best guess, if it's even going to be in 2023, I got teased on God of War Ragnarok for a year and a half.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not even going to, like, listen and, like buy into this.
Yeah,
Like,
you're like, until I see an actual...
2023.
You're like, until I see an actual trailer with a release date,
Yeah,
then I'll be
exactly.
happy. Yeah. Do you have something else for the future?
I do.
Because I also have something else.
So, yeah, we talked about the newest Mortal Kombat movie that came out in 2021 on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it came out
that
in
was
the
like...
theaters first.
Yeah, in
April.
theaters, but
yeah.
shortly out. I think it actually was the same time.
Well,
I think it was because that was
came
still
out
when
in the
the
theaters
pandemic
for like
was going
a
on.
week or two,
Oh, okay.
and then was released. I went and saw it in the theaters.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So, yeah, we're pretty positive. It sounds like we all kind of liked it. They are currently, getting ready to start filming a sequel in 2023, but there's currently no release date for that movie.
Yeah. I did find on December 10th, speaking of Ed Boon and his Twitter, on December 10th of this year, so just like a few weeks ago, someone was tweeted at Ed Boon and was asking him about the new movie, and he replied that he was reading some awesome scripts. So it's still in the script kind of stage at the moment, but there are scripts, and he's reading them. So, like, once you approve, then you can start shooting, right?
Assuming everything goes perfect.
Yeah.
And I will say, from a working on movies and stuff standpoint, a movie like on that kind of a scale, like the locations they got to go to, minimum 6 months just to film.
Yeah.
And then at least another 6 months to edit and get all the marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And
plus all the special effects for that movie.
Yeah,
But,
so we're looking 2024, 2025.
That's
Probably.
That's where my mind's at.
Yeah, if he's just now reading scripts, they haven't even started filming or planning any of that stuff.
But one of the things that I'm excited about as far as the future goes, and you touched on it, the new movie coming up, Ed Boon is actually going to have a lot more to do with the okaying with production and the script writing and being a lot more involved than he was in the first movie.
Good.
Cool. Yeah.
And
I think maybe that's the key to like making sure it stays good.
I
you
agree.
Is having the creators or the people that actually work on the game be involved in the movie.
Yeah.
Or the TV show or whatever they're doing with it.
I would think so.
And also one of the big key things that big Mortal Kombat fans are, the first movie the last movie that came out, I thoroughly loved it. But one of the biggest things that was missing was Johnny Cage. He wasn't in the movie. I did kind of like one take that they created a character, Cole, and to me Cole represented like the player. He didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, so when you kind of like taught him like, so here's what's going on. So he kind of represented the character, and then he kind of became one of the characters himself, and defeated Goro, and then him and they tied his story in with Hanzo Hasashi, who is Scorpion, and so I did kind of like that little twist. But one of the key things that was missing was Johnny Cage. Thing is, every movie like that needs a comic relief.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kano, and I forget the actor who played Kano, but was brilliant.
Oh yeah,
man, I loved his character.
I loved his character
He was
too.
so good.
So he was a wonderful comic relief, but he got killed off. So I guess
Didn't they tease Johnny Cage for at the end for the second movie.
Yeah,
though. So no matter what, they've got to incorporate that.
If they're gonna make a sequel,
they gotta have Johnny Cage.
Absolutely have to have Johnny Cage. Yeah.
I'll be a little mad at this point if they don't, since they did tease it.
And I've heard of a few different actors that they've toyed around with and offered it to, and including a wrestler that I won't name, but people who that they've offered it to, and I don't know what they've said and what they've decided. That's still
who's
in the
the
works.
wrestler?
I'm not gonna say.
Why?
Because I'd have to look it up.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No, that's fine.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to think who I would cast as Johnny Cage.
Jericho!
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It'd have to be someone kind of younger at this point, right? Like, at least in their, 20s, the early 30s.
You know what would be fucking hilarious? If
Ryan Reynolds. I'm just kidding.
If they got Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, my God. And they put all the CGI on him to make him look young, like they did to Bruce Willis in that one movie.
Stop giving them ideas.
Do it, Ed Boon. Do it.
Oh, no. We're going to ruin this movie.
So, Eric, did you accomplish the challenge? Did you beat?
So, funny story. I got to Reptile. First, fight, flawless victory against him.
Wow.
Next two, I lost. And I got super frustrated. And I'm like, I'm not doing this again.
So you gave up?
I gave up.
So you let Doug win?
I let Doug win.
I also let Doug win.
Hey, you're one to talk.
I mean, I didn't let you win on purpose. I'm just not very good at Mortal Kombat. At least the old Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm much better at newer games. I'm learning.
Reptile is definitely frustrating because he is Sub-Zero and Scorpion. That was kind of the whole premise. Like blue and yellow make green. And, and so they're like, well, we'll just give him both the spear and the freeze.
He's got all
and the slide and the decoy.
Oh, wow.
So many cheap attacks.
He's got all the things.
Yeah. So my strategy against him was keep jumping, keep jumping, keep jumping.
Just keep jumping.
Always keep jumping.
Always jumping. That's a good idea. Yeah.
So, Doug, I guess you did accomplish the challenge that you gave Eric, I'm assuming, since Eric had the harder challenge.
Yeah, that was the most frustrating one.
Oh my God, yeah.
It took a long time, and again, had to make sure to don't throw Eric's controller.
Yeah, very proud of you. Very proud of you.
But like you said, every now and again, one low punch, I'm like, God, fucking. And so I would just restart. But yeah, I did unlock the fight with Reptile, and I did.
Wow,
nice. Yeah, good job.
Would you like to rap with us, anyways?
Oh, I guess.
I mean, when else are you gonna get to rap, Doug? Other than when you're wrapping up a show. This is a different kind of rap.
I guess
it's a different kind of rap party.
Well, I can't wait to hear y'all's raps. So let's get into it.
All right, if you insist.
All right.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
1993. Coming at you 30 years later, silly bitch. Like I forgot. Round 1. Fight! High punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, leg sweep, uppercut, jump kick, roundhouse throw, and then comes the fatality. You'll always remember the day that I beat you on the old Mortal Kombat arcade. How to remove someone else's spine. You'll never be better than me. Put that quarter up on the screen. It won't matter what your mama seen. She's gonna pick you up while you're in tears. Just tell her that Doug's seen you home in fear. You'll never be better than me. High punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, leg sweep, uppercut, jump kick, roundhouse throw, and then comes the fatality.
I'm feared, I'm hated, my moves are X-rated, created from arrogance and rage. I'm the janitor backstage, engaged with brooms and dustpans, fit Johnny Cage into 2 trash cans. When fans are slipping on blood, treat it with cat litter and scrub. Took a power nap on the job, booked a spike trap for a swab. Got no money, got no problems, hit the bathroom, find used condoms.
High punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, leg sweep, uppercut, jump kick, roundhouse throw, and then comes the fatality.
Johnny Cage here, hide your nuts. I've got mad splits and uppercuts. I'm a little cocky, but I back it up. Tell your hot mama said, sup. Let's not play, you know who I am. The sexy man in front of the cam. Is this a joke? Even reptiles are sham. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. 500 years, the girl's undefeated, but I'm here now, so you can all stay seated. History is not gonna be repeated. Had it up to here, and I'm heated. My range meter's filled to the brim. Even Earth round's looking grim. Your chances are slim. Oh, hear that? Finish him! Wow, Dougie Fresh over here. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? We need to start all kinds of bands right now with all of our friends.
One
Just
giant
one giant rap.
Doug.
Just one giant rap group.
All right, Nikki. Are you excited to hear what the next game is?
It's your turn, so I don't know. It's a toss-up. Sometimes you pick cool games, sometimes you pick games to torture me.
I'll give you a hint. It's a game you got me, and we're keeping the violence turned up to 11.
Is it a game I got you?
Yeah.
Is it Cyborg Ultimate? Wait, what is that? What is that one I got you?
Cyborg something. I don't remember.
Is it NFL Blitzer?
Yes, NFL Blitz.
No shit.
Yeah.
NFL Blitz.
Oh my god.
Okay, so a football game.
It's a really fun football game.
Yes.
Though.
Oh, Nikki, you're in for a treat.
We did play a little bit of it on Christmas.
Yeah, you got a little bit of a preview.
Yeah, I went over to Still Collectibles, which is a place right down the street, and they have all kinds of retro games. And Eric put that on his wish list, so I got it for him.
I'm not a big sports fan in general,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely not a big football fan. I'm a
Me
fan
either.
of that game.
Yeah,
It is really fun. From the little bit of I played so far, it is really fun. So what is my challenge, though?
So your challenge is to win the Super Bowl in season mode.
Oh, no big deal. Just win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, just win
like
the
I'm
Super- yeah.
Tom Brady or something.
Just win a little bit of a Super Bowl.
If you can,
Against the computer?
can beat Shang Tsung, you can win this.
Yeah, I don't.
Did you beat Shang Tsung?
No, I
Oh,
didn't.
shit. All right, well, then-
I honestly don't think it's too bad.
All right, so I have to basically win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's season mode, and you can, save it and load it and replay games.
This is
if
coming
you
from
lose
a
it.
person whose fantasy football record for this year was 0-15. So, yeah, I should be great at this.
imagine if you can mesh Mortal Kombat with football.
That's a good description.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Okay, well, I'm excited.
All right.
Cool.
Y'all, I have had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me on y'all's
Of course,
podcast.
Doug.
Dude, yeah. Of course, man.
All right, we'll see everybody next time.
All right. Bye.
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 And as always, if you like what you heard, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and connect with us on our website. That's right. Press Any Button now has a website. So please check it out. It's pressanybutton.net. You can leave comments. You can leave reviews. You can listen to our music and all kinds of other fun stuff. All right. See you next time. Bye.